Well, amazing things are happening. Incredible. You see at the bottom of your screen a circular system. That system is perfectly round. It's got a well-defined eye, but it's not a hurricane. We never used to see systems like that ever. And we're going to bounce around a little bit, but on the Pacific side, you can see the equatorial belt of water from Baja to Hawaii is completely absent. The remaining strand of water or band of water is moving in the wrong direction. The equatorial band of water, especially the northern equatorial band of water, is supposed to be traversing from right to left. That's what the trade winds do. And so these storms start out as just a little spot. There's one on the upper left we're going to be keeping an eye on. There's one on the right we're going to be keeping an eye on that start almost invisibly, and then as they hang out, they draw water in. But look at the concentric rings around that. That's amazing. North Africa, we showed you a huge system off the coast of Greenland, south of Greenland. It was actually a 3 spiral system, a 3 low pressure system, a 3 vortex system, and we kept saying that the water is going into Morocco, into North Africa, Spain, Portugal, and even Great Britain, and wait till you see what's happening there. I used to say that, well, the places that are getting water are the places they're going to preserve. It's a place you want to bug out to. I'm kind of taking that back now because they're flooding those places. The system you can see on the right is a system that we've been tracking. It's a dry system, but look what it's doing. It's pulling water up from the equatorial belt on the Atlantic side. And the water's going in the wrong direction. This is totally amazing. We take a closer look at Spain, Portugal, and we see just walls of water, rivers of water streaming through those countries. Europe is getting pelted. What's happening in Spain is heartbreaking. Portugal, Morocco, heartbreaking. Even as far on the other side of the Mediterranean, Turkey, we're seeing epic flooding. We're seeing incredible hail and winds. We're even seeing tornadoes in places you don't get tornadoes. This is freaky. Spain is just drowning. Millions of people have been displaced because of this incredible, incredible flooding. I used to think, well, this is where you want to migrate to. This is the place that's getting the rain. This is where there's not a drought. But this is the extreme of drought. This is epic, life-threatening, multi-million, billion-dollar damaging. It's crazy what's going on in Portugal, Morocco, Spain, and these are the places that we've pointed out are getting targeted by these vortexes. And it's just heartbreaking what's happening over there. It's just epic, and you think Florida is underwater. I mean, everywhere is underwater. If you're not under drought or extreme heat, you're being flooded. It's amazing what's happening. And if they can control the weather, this should be preventable. And they should be able to put rain exactly where they want it. They should be able to move these systems in and out and over and away from places that are flooding. Completely and totally amazing what is going on. And we're going to switch to other countries right now and show you just exactly what they're dealing with. These vortexes are parking, or they're moving in a direction that sends streams of water directly over a country and then keeps that stream of water over the country. The fact that the water is moving fast is irrelevant if you're under a river. That river stays over you for 2 or 3 days. Well, these systems have been pushing water into these countries that I have mentioned for 2 years now. We've been tracking these systems. We've been showing you over and over again on our weather warfare videos what's been going on with respect to the satellite images. But when you get your boots on the ground and you see what's actually happening on the ground underneath these systems, it is heartbreaking. It is billions of dollars in damages. It is millions of people being displaced and solely reliant now upon government to take care of them. You think, the plagues were bad? Well, it just seems like there is no good news anymore anywhere. It's absolutely mind-boggling what these storm systems are doing. And we've been tracking them, and it's amazing. These invisible ones, we're trying to spot them as they grow. Now, this is California. Remember, Northern California, supposed to have 7 days of rain. This system, very slow moving, moved inland so that the backside of this system is actually keeping water out of California. There was no 7 days of rain. I told people there were not going to be 7 days of rain. This system, spiral system, we tracked it coming in. It turned south for some reason, but yet, at the bottom of this system, you'll see water being shot up over into Colorado, New Mexico. We go back over to Europe, and we catch a glimpse of that spiral on the daylight image. Again, this is called SAT-24 satellite. The SAT-24 images, they barely give you enough data to work with. Again, we're looking at, what are we looking at here? Oh, this is Canada, and you see the spiral systems pushing what's supposed to be the jet stream, pushing this stuff up and out and over and up towards Greenland. So we look at the Pacific now, and you see look at the wall of water at the lower left. They're going to get inundated over there in Malaysia. Just browser search Indonesia, Malaysia, Sumatra flooding. One of those places are going to be flooding. Australia has been completely dry, devoid of showers, and then one of these systems just swung right through in a matter of a day. Just came right through. It dropped a lot of rain in some areas, especially the monsoon areas, but lots of high winds. Again, south of Australia, you see a perfectly spherical system that is devoid of water. It's amazing. So this is Canada again. Towards the left is Vancouver. You see that system. It's perfectly spherical, well-defined eye for an upper level system. Upper level systems are not supposed to have eyes, but they do. You see a double system headed up towards Greenland, and we're seeing a lot of double systems now. We go down, look at Florida. We see the streams and rivers of water that are headed due north. I mean, where's our jet stream, really, guys? Where's our jet stream? So this gives you a good view of what's actually going down in the United States. Let's see what we have here. Again, this is the Pacific, just south of Alaska. You see a system that's grabbing water from the equatorial belt, grabbing moisture from the jet stream, and shooting rivers of water up towards Vancouver, Canada. Amazing. Off to the right, you see that spherical system that's clearing out the water from California. And this is the equatorial belt of water. It's supposed to be right to left, traveling right to left. It's not. It's traveling left to right because of these massive systems have changed the direction of flow of the atmosphere. This is Greenland in the North Atlantic. You see the monster system it's actually three systems that are rotating around one another, and they're just, again, those arms of the spiral. If you get caught underneath one of those for a few days, you will be getting flooded. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4 spirals in this image, 4 vortexes that are just going to wreak havoc over there where havoc is already being wreaked. Again, this is an Atlantic view, and amazing that there's the equatorial belts of water are gone, and you see patches of water, some of it traveling north, some of it traveling left to right. That's our jet stream. Now we go down to Chile. Look off the Chile Peru coast. You see that black? That black is extreme, extreme heat. This is crazy heat that's going on down there. And then we go down further, and remember we were showing you a system off the coast of Argentina on the Atlantic side that was barely visible. Well, that system has moved north and has gathered up water, and all of a sudden now off the coast of Argentina is a patch of water that has been drawn up from the southern jet stream and pulled down from the equator. So we got water coming into that area of the South Atlantic, both from the north and south. Here is that the thing about the heat wave, incredible heat, record heat. It says right here about Chile. Yesterday, October 28th, the hottest day in the history of Santiago. Now people were saying, well, this was magma, this was volcanic. This is an upper level atmosphere. Okay, now what's driving our climate and our climate change is, of course, the cosmic rays lighting up the corona of the sun. We were talking and fearful of the X-rays that were going to show up during solar maximum. So we go to an actual instrument that actually can see in X-ray wavelengths. And this is called SXI, and because the corona is so lit up, look how they cropped this image. It used to be a square frame, just like a picture, but they have it trimmed at every single place on that image. They've trimmed down the corona so you cannot see how lit up the corona is. And if the corona is so lit up, then the question I have to you is, this is actually from 2011. So this is how bright the corona was in solar max. Now that we have more particles in the solar corona, how bright do you think the corona is going to get now? It's going to be crazy stuff going down in the sun. But this is an example of the instrument. And when I go to the website to get these images, it's really hard to find them. They've taken them down off of SolarHam. They've taken them down off of SDO. It's hard to find SXI images. If you have a link that takes me to an SXI image, please attach it below. So amazing things are happening in our world, and we're targeting 2023 as a make it or break it for planet Earth. It really looks like the elite are planning something to deal with what's going down. The Russian thing, I mean, for 10 years people have been warning us that they were going to try to start a war with Russia or orchestrate a war with Russia. They're going to try to orchestrate a civil unrest. And I mean, we're really horribly divided as a country. This is some of the ugliest, darkest days I've ever seen for countries. The division is not just in America. They've divided people in all the countries along racial lines, along economic lines, and along political lines. So it's amazing how well the media has fed and bred this stuff. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. So if they are controlling the weather, I told you that, well, the places that are getting rain are the places they're going to try to, save. These are going to be safe zones. These are going to be areas where they're going to be able to grow food. Well, now those areas are so flooded. If you had crops, they're gone today. That's why I've always said you got to be prepared. You've got to search for and seek out self-sufficiency. You got to grow food, grow water, store water, form alliances, and have some backup plans in case you need to get out of Dodge and run for the hills. Take care, everybody. Be careful. Just a brief announcement. I just want to say that anytime I make a promise to anything, to anybody, on anything, anytime I say I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I want to give you this, I want to pay people back, immediately something happens that gets in the way. It's as if I'm being targeted, and it's if I'm being sabotaged. It, it's just, it becomes impossible to make videos, do the research, make a living, and then follow through on what I'm supposed to be doing in terms of taking care of my people, taking care of my subscribers, paying them back, servicing my store. It's just getting virtually impossible, having to deal with the medical issues, trying to move without hurting myself, which has been very, very difficult. It's just one thing after another. I feel like I've been sabotaged, and I don't blame you for growing impatient with me. I really don't. And I always follow through on my promises. I really try hard to follow through on my promises, and I still, in my heart, believe that I can and will follow through on everything, no matter if I'm a year late or 2 years late. I'm not going to leave this planet without having fulfilled my obligations and my promises. I still want to keep mailing out the garlic oil to people. Garlic oil, the pearls are extremely beneficial for toothaches, for tooth infections and urinary tract infections. So it's very, very important to have some of that on hand because it's cheap. Garlic oil is cheap. It's still cheap. And so, I want to send out more. I have some friends in New York that I need to send them some. You know who I'm talking about. You guys, I think of you every day. I'm sorry that it's just impossible to do things. I mean, I have some of my property in storage. I'm supposed to go back and retrieve it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go back because of the medical issues that keep popping up. When you have cancer, you're supposed to stay on your natural treatments for at least 6 months, even though you're no evidence of disease, even though they can't find anything on your scans. Cancer wants to come back. You have to stay on these therapies. Now they're expensive. For example, 50,000 milligrams of vitamin C infusion. I used to be able to get those for $75. Now it's $200 in the Southwest. In California right now, to get a 50,000 milligram infusion of vitamin C is $500. It's unaffordable. So I appreciate all of you who've made donations on the Patreon. Just want to remind you, there's a Patreon account. It's shrinking rapidly due to probably my failure to meet and require my promises. It's also shrinking due to the economy, and people are having more and more trouble, keeping money in their accounts, not overdrafting their accounts. It's getting more and more difficult. When we run out of diesel fuel, when Russia pulls whatever they say they're going to pull, when that stuff goes down, things are going to get even hairier. So I'm working hard. I'm trying to take care of my health. I'm trying to take care of the store. I'm trying to fulfill my promises. One last thing about the moringa seeds. We got to touch base on that. I was disappointed when I ate the moringa seeds. The outer skin is very bitter. What I do though is all you need is a few per day to meet your protein intake. So I put 2 or 3 into a smoothie, and add a little bit of agave syrup and stevia, and there's my protein for the day. But also you can boil those and blanch them out. You it's a acid. It's a very beneficial acid that's in the moringa seeds, but it gives it a bitter taste. The more you chew the seeds, the sweeter they get. I can blanch them in baking soda. That helps. Then dry roast them with brown sugar and cinnamon. They taste really good. A little butter, brown sugar, cinnamon. Put them in a toaster oven. Get them brown. Yummy. They're so much better that way. But we have planted a moringa tree that is 10 feet tall now. In just 4 to 5 months, it has grown 6 feet. The stalk is as big around as the handle of a baseball bat. The leaves that are coming off of that, we've been eating those leaves. I think they taste a little bit like a cross between watercress and celery, and then has kind of a cucumber finish. It's a very complex flavor. I think the leaves are very good. We've been putting it in the salad. I just walk by the tree and pull off some leaves and just throw them in my mouth sometimes. We have 3 or 4 moringa trees growing in the backyard. I can't believe how fast they're growing. And because of the warm weather, we're avoiding the freezes so far. The trees are still growing. Once they go dormant in the winter, you trim them back by 1/3, and they'll grow well. I'm hoping to get the pods next year on this tree, but we've been eating those leaves, and it's like having lettuce. So just trying to catch up on all of this, cram it all into one video. Prayers to Europe and even Turkey. It's just crazy. We're right now, just in the past week, millions of people have been displaced. I cannot emphasize to you the gravity, the extremity, and the widespread nature of the flooding. These vortexes, they're running in doubles and triples now. It's just crazy. We've seen them start from almost invisible and just grow over a week to 2 weeks into these giant systems with well-defined eyes. Well-defined eyes are supposed to be at lower level, like a hurricane, not at upper level. The black heat signatures you see in Chile are not magma. They are atmospheric temperatures. Until next time, be prepared, not scared.